Welcome to the third week and third episode of the Facecheck podcast. My name is Micah. I said podcast weird, so that's what you can know me by.
My name's JR, aka Queasy.
I'm Josiah. I'm fat.
Ooh. Oh, there we go.
Oof.
Awesome. So we have seen the third week of the LCS, third weekend of the LCS that we have done a podcast for. It's the fifth week of the LCS. I know I said it was fifth week last week in the episode because I'm a loser and an idiot. But we're now finally in the fifth weekend of the LCS. We've seen more than half of the regular game series of regular game matches of the NA LCS spring split.
Say we're
so far, what do you guys?
We're halfway
so far. How do you guys feel about the freaking?
You are breaking like a...
I'm not breaking.
Before we start, can I
barrier.
just say, I have to apologize. I referred to Mario Party 7 in the last podcast episode as having a microphone that plugged into a GameCube slot as being on the GameCube, and it was not. The game I played was probably Mario Party 5. I strive for my content to always to entertain.
There we go. We got the first drama apology of the split, you know? So
won't be the last.
It won't be the last. So let's see. Let's get into the first business of the other day. I want to structure this podcast a little bit better. So I'm introducing a little bit of a structure. We're going to talk about news first, then we're going to go into a game-by-game analysis. I know we've been kind of doing this like unstructured, just how we feel about some teams, some games, whatever people are feeling about. But I'd rather do a little bit more structure, especially as they're just starting out. Give us some, stability as we move through our analysis. So we're going to do game-by-game analysis second. We're going to do sort of a power rankings. We're going to talk about like the live game patches as they're coming out, changes to the game, how that's going to impact the teams is our final fifth kind of point, is what's going to change and how the standings are, how the teams are, what are we looking forward to as the next weeks of competitive play come along. So first thing we're going to talk about news. There's literally nothing in the news really other than the games itself. So I just want to talk about two different things. We have SKT picked up a couple new players, one of whom we know from last year in the LCS was Pyrian, the mid laner for Phoenix 1. He was subbing in and out for Ryu, and then he was also mid laner for, I think, Envy at a certain time, and also he's been a mid laner for Team, I think, Impulse before they were bought by Phoenix 1. So, that's a kind of a cool NA player, finally going to Korea, joining SK Telecom, learning with Faker. Any thoughts on this news? Yeah, okay, so moving on to the next piece of news. This is the cooler news. We finally got confirmation that Vietnam is going to be splitting from Southeast Asia as a minor region, and it's going to become its own region, joining the 8 different minor regions, or I think Riot likes to refer to them as the emerging regions in competitive play. They're going to be number 9 there on the list, and so we had this kind of funky thing in Worlds going on where, like, the best wildcard team at MSI got a second team to go to Worlds, and then it was weird because it was Southeast Asia who got it, and they're not like a one region team like league. They're like 5-6 different like countries competing in this league from like very different cultures, and so the representation was very weird. And then Vietnam got both slots because they're just better.
Yeah. So
I see this as kind of like progression of the league system, really cool, because if you're the region that gets highest MSI, you get a group seed draw, and if you win the split, you're the team from your region, the only team from your region going to Worlds, and you get to represent in the group stage. I think that's cool.
Yeah, this is all thanks to Shinshin.
Yeah,
no one knew Vietnam had a huge player base until the whole Shinshin thing came out, and they started talking about Vietnam, and then now, boom, own region.
We all kind of knew that Vietnam was good, because of Gigabyte Marines, Young Generations, I think they were called, were also pretty good. I mean, for like a wild card region, they were pretty good. And we knew that they were rising up there. I had no idea how massive they were, though. Like,
yeah, they're huge.
You know, especially considering the population. That means like a massive part of the population, like comparatively to the other regions, is actually playing in Vietnam, and that's really cool.
I think personally, this is an outrage. Vietnam overreaching their bounds. This communist country. We need to send pro league players from the United States and fight the Gigadite Marines.
Oh, no.
No, this is awesome, I think. You have such a huge, not only player base, but just fan base there. It's awesome. This also means that Riot is more willing to, if they're going to put a country as small, but with a big fan base in as Vietnam, and give them their own league, it makes a lot more likely that we're going to have, you know, smaller countries at least get put into the league locally in that region. Like, to get, like, oh, well, Ukraine has a bunch of players. Get Ukraine, you know, their own, like, franchised team. Like, that kind of thing. It's more likely that we'll see more expansion through this change.
Yeah, I agree. And you can sort of see the path progressing between, like, okay, Vietnam's really good again at Worlds. Maybe Riot's like, okay, well, LMS is its own region. Why isn't own major region? Why isn't Vietnam its own major region? Maybe we see even more progression there. Because, you know, we saw LMS having that progression as well in the past, where they were considered the GPL. They were considered like their own region, grouped up with Vietnam as well as like Indonesia, Malaysia, like all these different countries. They're all considered one minor region. And then, you know, you had Taiwan basically showing up and saying, well, we're way better than that. They become their own minor region. And then that minor region becomes a major region. I think it's really cool that Riot is recognizing skill, talent, and redistributing competitive rule books in order to reflect that. So, yeah, very cool. Now, we've covered news. I think in the future it might be, you know, might have more to cover, but, you know, we're in week 5 in the middle of the split. You know, there's not too much. Pyrian's going to SKT. You know, we have some other international stuff happening that's not over here has like the ability to talk about that right now, but, you know, in the future it might be something we are interested in. So now we're going to talk about game by game analysis. We're going to talk about the first day of week 5. We had CLG versus TL, Echo Fox versus 100 Thieves, Cloud9 versus TSM, Clutch Gaming versus FlyQuest, and Optic versus Golden Guardians. Let's start with CLG TL. What did you guys think about that game?
I have one thing written down. Rainover may be best jungler right now. I don't know why I put it. I don't agree with it.
I don't agree with it. Okay.
It was kind of a boring game. I mean, it wasn't all that exciting to me. Just for me, it's sad to see that kind of performance from TL.
Well, you know, I think that you see a jungler in the game, clearing vision, not ganking at all, completely like getting like massive vision scores and creep scores above the enemy jungler, and then eventually winning the game. And Rainover's in the game too. I can see how you're like, okay, so Rainover's a god. But it was Xmithy, and it was, of course, my boy, my Team Liquid boy, carrying us to the win with his vision denial style, no early game boring shit. But we got the win. We got the W.
Yeah, sure, Mike.
Oh, yeah.
It's true. That game was... I don't know, it didn't look good for either team, really. But, of course, like for CLG, I think it's probably one of the most dysfunctional teams in the league right now. I just don't like anyway, the way they played it. Like, Rainover, I think he should have put much more pressure on bot. Like, within like 15 minutes into the game, double lift, freaking got first blood, and they got a fire drag for free. And then, but at the same time, Rainover couldn't do too much though, because Xmithy on Jax was just, he had vision everywhere.
Yeah.
So it's like, where are you going to gank? What are you going to do? And then I think his vision score at the end of the game was something crazy.
It was like unprecedented.
Yeah, just like something ridiculous. And then, I don't know, CLG had no objective control or anything in that matter. But at the same time, TL, I don't think this was a good weekend for him. They showed a lot of weaknesses.
Well, you know, we showed a lot of weaknesses in areas where I think we've been showing a lot of strength recently. Like, we showed a lot of, like, weird macro mistakes that I don't think we've been showing mostly. Like, I think we've been losing a lot off of, like, like Mechanical misplays or draft mistakes. I think, losing on macro, I feel he's comfortable knowing that we've had a tighter ship in that regard before. And then I think some things this week that are encouraging, like Impact playing Camille, going up against Darshan's Gnar, actually doing stuff to like carry, like good mechanics, like actually playing well. And that's something I know that we were talking about last week that we were scared about. Something that I think he's shored up a bit. We've always known him to be like more or less, tank player, sort of guy who's going to know where the enemy jungler is, sort of guy who's going to know how to play the matchup. But it's nice to know that he's also stepping up back to like his old SKT days where he's, actually carrying on like champions where they're more damage threats.
Sure helped him in the next game.
Oh, well, we'll talk about that when we get to it. We're doing a game-by-game analysis, all right? let's keep it to that.
Yeah, but to continue on that, I think Darshan, like, TL played Darshan so well, like...
Oh, yeah.
They did well to, like, just, like... They ganked him, like, one. Did they even gank him at all?
They just, denied... Like, there was, like, weird TP stuff that, not like, Camille and I were doing, like...
Yeah.
I just... Like, I don't know. I
think at one point, like, they did a switch to bot lane... But the double lift stopped Dardok's back.
Yeah.
So, I mean, not Dardok, Darshan's back. So then Impact was able to go down bot lane and screw up everything, and Darshan was just playing from behind the rest of the game.
Yeah.
And just like little stuff like that took Darshan out of the game.
I just really like the way they planned around Impact this game. This wasn't a good game for TL. I'm not going to say this was a great game. Because, as much as denying Vision score, denying ganks, sacking early game, going late game, that's great if in the late game you've now found an opportunity to, outplay the opponent and like smash them with the lead you've accrued, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like we had a chance where we might have just all like we might have gotten run over by CLG. They take the Baron, they had the opportunity to get that, and Double Lift saved us from that. But like that can happen again. I don't really, I'm not comfortable with TL right now, but I'm not discouraged. I've been a TL fan for a long time. This is the best they've ever looked. If I'm being honest, this is pretty great. And it's still only halfway through the split, so I'm feeling okay. Let's talk about.
People keep saying that, but come on, we kind of have an idea of where every team is now. We can see the end of the split.
Do we? Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this. This is what Section 4 is for. This is not what game by game. We're going to talk about these games, then we're going to talk about
I have to get used to it.
All right, Echo Fox 100 Thieves. Echo Fox 100 Thieves. What do you guys think about this game?
Huni tried to counterpick.
It worked.
Did it? I think it was pretty weak. I think he suffered through it. He definitely wasn't a star player that much.
Well, there was a lot of, like, if what I remember correctly, you didn't have, like, a lot of the conventional counters or, like, conventional picks you'd go into. You didn't have the Gangplank. I don't think you had the Camille. There's not... You have Huni, right? And Huni isn't going to be wanting to play this tank champion. If he is, he can get focused. He can get attacked, I think putting him on a carry that's going to win the matchup 1v1. Okay, so he gets ganked and dies. That happens, but, he's Yasuo. He's going to be able to push in, get kills, team fight well, and I think that, one of the things I remember about this game so much as regards to Huni is that I constantly see him way above River, 1v2ing or 1v3ing, and then it immediately cuts to Echo Fox getting something on the other side of the map. I'm like, well, that's perfect. Well, that's what I want my top laner to do. No, the counterpick didn't completely shut down Darshan or anything, but
right.
Or not Darshan. I think of Aframu on a team, and all of a sudden I'm thinking, oh wait, top laner's Darshan, but it's someday. And I think that also does speak to a little bit like I don't think Someday's been like very standout this split. Obviously he was probably the best top laner in the league last year, but he hasn't really shown up like that this year. What about the rest of that? We've been kind of honed in on this top lane discussion.
For me, it was I think the bot lane picks decided it, but I hated the Morgana pick for Aframo.
Yeah, I did too.
I hated that. It
was awful.
What are you? So you're gonna use this black shield to protect against the Zoe. Zoe's still gonna kill your ADC no matter what. And the worst part, like I understand that they had to pick the Jinx because like all the good ADCs got banned out, but if you're gonna go Jinx, I'd like to see Aframo on Bard and try to snowball that lane because he wasn't able to snowball, and then all it took was one gank from Dardoch, and then bot lane was over. They got 3/4 turret, they got 3 sums from Aframu and freaking or EDC, what the hell? Well, yeah, whatever. Yeah, so they lost that, and I was like, okay, this game's over. It's a dumb pick.
A lot of bot lane teams will pick bot lane champs that like duo up and like are tried and true, kind of like, oh, you pick Jinx, you gotta play Morgana kind of thing. And it's like, you can't be thinking about that with this meta. You have to be thinking outside of the box, and I see a lot of... I mean, it's not like it's not working every single time, but there definitely needs to be some sort of other thinking to it.
I think the Morgana was before the Jinx. But I think LS was talking about this just in the, like, he did like a patch rundown, he was talking about some things, and Zoe's getting nerfed this patch, so we'll talk about that later. But one of the things he talked about is he doesn't think, like, seeing all these games, it doesn't look like the pro players are playing or against, or they're playing Zoe much, like, especially in like non-Korean regions. And I think that's like, when I think of the Morgana pick, I'm like, mostly what Aframu was doing was he was like trying to shield the already slept target, right?
Yep.
And it's like, that doesn't work, right? And it's like we've seen so many Zoes where they just look lost, like they don't really know what they're doing, like they're still figuring out the champion. And it's been how long since the release? Like, it's been a month or so. Like, there's been champions that have been brought into pro play faster than that, and the player looked at least decent on them. It's kind of weird to me how like little practice it looks like some of these players on Zoe are, because there's games where she doesn't even get through the draft, and we know how good Zoe is. Like,
yeah.
This game showed how Zoe was. Like,
also,
this
Phoenix
is Phoenix.
Played it really well.
He did play really well,
yep.
but
oh my god, yes.
And he's one of the few who's like really showing, okay, I know how to play Zoe. I know how to make you regret not banning it, and I know how to completely roll over whatever plans you had.
Yeah. He's all about pressure. I mean, Echo Fox is a whole team. That's kind of their thing, I feel, is that lane pressure. Even being able to push back an entire team exactly where they need them to steal a tower out from right under their noses. Like, that's Echo Fox, definitely. But Phoenix especially, with his kind of magey champ picks, like, he especially gets this massive power, and the other mid laner always knows, I've got to step back away from that. Mm-hmm. And he's excellent at timing out all of his abilities to not get all this burst damage, but like just keep him back, keep him pushed back.
Except for this game where it was all about that burst damage.
But even then, like,
but that's Zoe.
But even then, like, he wasn't even like, his main focus wasn't even like one-shotting carries. It was what was it, Meteos. Meteos comes in, oh, you're half health, back up. Now you don't have a tank on your front line. And he just kept doing that every time. Like, you think, oh, Jinx is wide open, but instead he would go for Meteos.
Yeah, and for the first...
great.
And for, like, first 15, 30, 20 minutes when he's not going for Meteos, he's, like, going for, like, the carries. But he's not, like, necessarily going for the kill. It's like, I just made you go to, like, 10 HP, you're backing, and we're taking this tower. Or
you just use your
taking
TP.
this drag, you know? Like, it's just like, oh, well, GG, I guess.
Also, it didn't help Ryu's performance. I mean, it was up and down. He got first blood, but you remember that he got caught out on a river, and it was just completely embarrassing.
Well, yeah, like, I think you expect too much from Ryu, to be honest.
I probably agree, but at the same time, he got better later, but like, I definitely don't expect this kind of, like, I expect something a little bit better. Like, I mean, old Ryu would definitely work his way around that kind of pressure.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm. I think, to be honest, like, 100 Thieves, like, there's stuff to be worried about. Like, Ryu's not great. Someday's not stepping up. Meteos is kind of, like, has these weird moments, too. Really, I just think this is a draft. This is a shitty draft, wasn't it? Like, look at some of this stuff.
I mean,
Talia into Zoe. Zoe's left up. Jinx does nothing.
Did you see how Cody missed that real easy ult?
There was
like pretty much near the beginning, right before Rhea got first blood.
But to me, it's like, okay, it doesn't matter because at the point where in the game where Jinx was allowed to do damage, she had the items she needed. You know, she was at her power spikes. She was still doing 0 damage to Braum, Jax, and Yasuo. Like, what are you supposed to do? Wind wall, shield, counter strike. Fuck you. You know, like. It's a terrible draft. Like
the draft is a big problem, and it did not help him in the team fights. So many mistakes though during the team fights. It was just it was disorganized, and I think we know where that's coming from. Kind of.
Do we
listen to what Medio says in interviews? But at the same time, I don't know. It feels like they just missed basic stuff.
Yeah.
That they need to be getting back. I believe in them. I still believe in them.
Believe in what? Believe in them to do what?
100 Thieves fan. I believe in them to get back together as a team.
As a Liquid fan, I respect that.
Reform the Beatles.
As a Liquid fan, I respect the clinging to the dead corpse of your team.
Yeah.
You know, and dragging them across the finish line.
It is a fresh corpse, and Jon Snow was dead for like what?
Oh, spoilers! Okay, I'm sure everyone's who cares seen it, but you know, we have.
They didn't want to take any risks while Fox sacrifices 2 players to take a tower, and it succeeds. So, I mean, I think a lot. I mean, 100 Thieves definitely needs some work, but also this is Echo Fox. I don't think
they need so much. I think the best play that describes like this 100 T season has been it was Huni was splitting bot lane. 100 T just finished picking. They just got a pick on on Dardoch. So then they rush to Baron, but they take so long to set up Baron. Dardoch's already up, and then Yasuo is splitting bot, going for their inhib, and they can't decide whether they're backing or go to contest Baron.
Oh yeah.
So then Fox is like, okay, we're gonna get both, and then
like, okay. We're just gonna take both. Yeah, I think it's pretty standard macro play, but like in other regions, but like no one else other than Echo Fox and Cloud9 seem to be doing it. So. Props to them. They're like legit teams.
Yep.
Let's move on to the next game. We have Cloud9 versus TSM, the OG matchup, the overall kind of easy game. I mean, we talked about Cloud9 at this point, and I think both of you were thinking that they're like the best team in the league. Maybe that opinion's changed, but like they're still up there for sure. They're and TSM isn't, and they have so many problems. What did you guys think was the problem this game?
Mike Young can't play Skarner. He needs to stop.
No.
I don't know about
that.
Was not.
Ornn Haunter sucks. Oh my god.
Maybe. I don't actually have anything down about his Ornn. I mean, when I think about like Ornn into Gnar, you're not winning lane.
No.
Like you're ulting, but the thing is, if you get a good ult on Ornn, and your team's not ready to like engage, which happens all the time because Ornn ult is from like 1 billion miles away. So sometimes you engage from 1 billion miles away, and the other team walks away. Oops. Maybe you say that's Haunter's fault, but it's hard for me to say just because it could be it could be anyone's fault. Like who called for the engage? What if Bjergsen's calling in the mid lane? Like, Ornn ult, go, no. Oh, never mind, back away. And it's like. These things can happen.
If that's so true, then they need to figure out what these champs do or something because they're not using them correctly.
I don't think it's not knowing what the champs do. They all know what the champs do. I think it has to do with communication. I think it has to because sometimes like what was the famous play this split of Bjergsen Mike Young? Bjergsen starts teleporting into the Baron pit. He channels teleport. Obviously, he isn't going to take it. He steps out of his teleport, the Rise ult, and Mike Young like runs right in, gets ulted in the Baron pit, and instantly dies. And it's like,
communicate.
Okay, we have no idea. That's a communication issue because obviously they didn't want to do that. Unless they were like randomly saying, okay, you go in there and maybe you get a smite. We have no vision, so maybe you get a smite.
I think it's more than communication. I think there's so many issues for TSM, but I think it is our performance issue in bot lane, decision making, and top lane. Like that game was. It went over pretty quickly by, first of all, Haunter, they dove bot lane, got a good dive, but Haunter does a weird TP to bot lane, like after they killed them, so he loses his TP, loses his lane advantage, and then TSM's bot lane hasn't been performing off split, and we're supposed to be waiting for this EU like super duo to come in and start playing well, and nothing's happened.
Okay, but that's
it's
unfair because I feel like the EU super duo has sort of been a thing the community has said. But like when I watched a lot of EU last year, especially. Sven and Mithy were never like, we're gonna dominate you in lane and then we're gonna win the game, like Double Lift Biofrost were. They're like the duo that's like, we're gonna get slight leads over you in lane, and then our team is gonna set up for us, and we're gonna make plays that like destroy, like the mid game and the late game. That was the big argument with that Weldon Green had, saying like, okay, early game doesn't matter. We're not even gonna practice early game. It's just all about that mid game, late game. And you have to wonder how much of that is Zven and Mithy are bringing over. How much is Song kind of like, what direction is this team trying to go? I know Bjergsen has kind of always been this player who's not really into like roaming and affecting side lanes too early on.
But he did,
this
though.
game,
Yeah, so it's like he set this team up to win. Him and Skarner early set this team up to do well. But then Hanser in the bot lane did not show up with those leads.
Yeah, it's like communication. Like, do you know your identity? Do you know what your team is supposed to be doing? Like, Cloud9 do. Cloud9 know that we're the team, right? Where Jensen sits in mid and like fucks the other laner, right? We all go to Licorice's lane and set him up to destroy the enemy, and basically, Smoothie's a god. And that's like basically the whole identity of Cloud9, and they all play towards that. Like, who is Sven Skaren? He's the guy who spent most of his career on aggressive, like, early game junglers, trying to get leads, trying to get kills. He was stuck on TSM. He couldn't play early aggressive champions. He had to play tanks. He comes on Cloud9. I'm free of TSM. It's time to stop playing tanks. Or Sejuani, so that's okay, They know their identity as a team. They're not worried about their identity as players, I think.
The weak link is Licorice, unfortunately.
Not this game. Not this game. We'll talk about that next game.
Let me talk about one of my favorite Sven Skaren play for this game was Licorice is just donezo. He's gone. And then all of a sudden, swoop in with the double kill.
Exactly.
It was a brilliant save.
Yeah.
But, I mean, think about, like, he's already in that position. I guess he gets caught out, but, like, he doesn't perform as well as anybody else on the team so far.
Really? We were last week. We were saying that he was insane.
There were some times, but like if you think about it, like throughout, like match everything up, match the performance, the consistency that Sneaky provides or has provided up to a certain point, and
okay, that's true. You're not wrong.
Sven Skaren definitely, like, he seems like maybe he's not a very weak link, but out of their roster, he is the weakest.
Sven or
no,
Licorice?
What about during this game specifically?
I don't think you're wrong.
This game specifically, he was all right, but
I think in this game he was insane.
Yeah, he played it solo. They focused top lane.
I don't really remember any big plays.
The big play was the top. Like, you remember Sven Skaren swooping in to save the day.
I remember that.
But like the reason that was possible is like so.
I mean, definitely.
Wait, let me set this up for you.
I get.
Let me set this up for you. Licorice is in the top lane. He's not overextended on Gnar. He's like playing up into the pressure because he's playing Gnar versus Ornn. He needs to be pressing the Ornn because if you let Ornn free farm, he becomes a big old tank and you can't do anything, right? Mm-hmm. So you're pressuring the Ornn. You're getting in his face. You're getting those autos off, right? And your jungler and you are warding to try to find the enemy jungler, trying to find Mike Young. Mike Young does a really good path. He gets in and he in a place where he couldn't have been spotted. And then the instant that Licorice doesn't even see Mike Young. He doesn't get vision on him. He sees that Hanser's moving up. And he's like, oh, I better back off. He runs back. He gets the double hop off of the back caster minions to get massive distance. And he escapes the gank. The only reason they're able to maybe get a kill on him is because they both burn flash. And what was going to happen regardless of the Sven Skaren thing? One of them was going to die, right? Mm-hmm. One of them was going to get traded on. And instead, freaking Licorice lives, and obviously I will say Sven Skaren, yeah. It was mostly Sven Skaren. But Licorice is playing good too, is my point.
Yeah.
He's definitely weak. He's definitely the weakest of the five. I'll concede to you there.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm liking his plays so far. Let's I also wanted, before we move on, to just give special commendations. I think that Smoothie's ridiculous, not just like in his play, but also like he has like 4 or 5 champions who it's like, oh, you can't let Smoothie get
Tarek, All-Star.
Alistar. You can't let him get Braum, you know? Oh, you can't let him get this shit, you know? And then that's
you can't
not
let Smoothie
even...
get a support.
Exactly. So it's like, you know, every single game, it's like, you don't see anybody throwing, like, big bans against Smoothie, except for, like, you know, some outlier games. Because, like, what are you going to do? You're going to ban, you know, are you going to ban Tarek, Braum, and Alistar? Oh, Tom Kench is here.
Oh, that's right. Oh, my gosh.
It's like, what do you... And it's not like Smoothie's, like, stuck on Tom Kench, having to eat his carries. He's, like, ulting in with somebody, like, making the play happen.
He's like, to be able to play like that.
Smoothie is the best support in NA.
Yeah, definitely.
Any disagreement?
Hell
No.
He's the best support. I think he's
disagreement.
one of the best supports NA's ever had, right? Like, I can't even think of historic supports who've been as good as he's performed the last 2 years. Like, maybe X-Special in his heyday on TSM. Maybe, I don't know. I can't think of any crazy import support players. Lost Boy on TSM, maybe, right? Like, Lemonation was never, like, the super god, right? And, I just think Smoothie is so incredibly good.
Yeah.
All right.
So let's move on to the next game. We're going to talk about Clutch Gaming versus FlyQuest.
Wow, Clutch. I mean, like, I said that I thought that they were growing, but god damn are they growing. A lot of people say it's luck. I don't say that.
One person
I
in
say
particular
it's
said
skill.
it's luck.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Oh man, you ruined a joke I was gonna make.
We can still make it. Wait for the right time. The audience will have forgotten by then.
This was actually, like, all around, this was just a really good game. Good picks all around, really. Nothing weak. But here's the thing. Fly can't keep up with Feven, and that's just a fact.
Mm-hmm.
He can't.
Yeah.
You can't
Most
keep
teams
up with
can't.
Feven. So really, that early team fight gave Fly a slight advantage early game, but they lost it because CJ gets all these, like, easy towers that just left completely open, and it's crazy. They're crazy good laners. They have all this attack power and survivability. This great combination of it as a team, and they utilize that in team fights so well. And also, ward control. Ward control was one of the deciding factors of that game, especially.
Mm-hmm. I think that another factor is, again, I don't want to harp on it too much across the different games, but I think the draft was not great. Maybe I think from a more, like, removed perspective, like a perspective that's gonna say, like, you know, what is a good draft? You know, you might have
Well, it's
things
nothing
to say
crazy.
about.
It's meta, but I think it was all right.
It's not bad, but I think when you're talking about the way that they play it out, the way that they think they should play the draft, it's like, I don't understand. Like, the Vladimir does nothing, right? Like, he never plays towards, like there's no opportunity to flank this team. You know, he's always either getting cut out. Like, they have one good fight for the Vladimir, and then never again. And Vladimir needs to be getting good fights to be a useful pick. And then it's weird because I think it's weird that the way that Flame plays Gnar, it's not terrible. I don't think it's bad because we'll see in the next game that Flame plays Gnar. It actually works out really well for him. Mm-hmm. But in this game, you're up against Ornn. You want to be bullying him. He builds Black Cleaver, full tank, team fight Gnar. And there's just a lot of opportunities for him to be bullying Ornn in side lanes. And, like, he's not building Frozen Mallet. He's not going for those, for, like, 1v1 builds to be able to, like, get pressure for his team. And, like, okay, how is Vladimir going to be flanking if you are pushed in on 3 lanes? Like, how's that happening? It's not, to be honest, right? Like, I really disagree with, the thing is, I wouldn't disagree with the picks if they were played like they should be played.
Yeah.
But, just really silly
Worked
stuff.
Worked out.
You know,
I mean,
not this
you
game.
just said that exactly for this.
Not this game. And maybe JJ has to do something. JJ looks amateurish bad. I mean, you can't expect too much. I don't know why they were subbing out Stunt.
Yeah, I don't.
This is how bad he is. I forgot who JJ was.
Yeah, just the support.
You know, you don't have to actually. That was. Like, I mean, it was.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It was just kind of. I think. I mean, it's another useless Morgana game, right? Like, why are we picking Morgana right now?
It was fun though. It was an entertaining game. It was a good game. It was a good game.
Mm-hmm.
And Clutch definitely just getting better and better.
And this is one of those games that's proving like why Skarner is like so good. Like you see Mike Young suck at it, you see different like junglers really suck at it. But like, you know, when you have somebody like Lyra on Skarner, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna Black Shield the carry. Oh well, he's sitting next to the other carry, so yoink. I think Clutch is going places, and I love that they had this great weekend.
Yeah.
I disagreed to the point where you said that, and then you convinced me.
Okay.
Like, I haven't liked Skarner picks, but it's because there are so many junglers who just can't do it, but they see these other great Skarner players playing it and think I can do that.
Mm-hmm, yeah, I think about half the league seems like they'd be good at Skarner. Like you have like the Lyra, you have Svenskeren,
contracts,
oh
Saints,
yes, really good.
And then you have junglers like Mike Young, you have
Smithy maybe,
Acadian. Like I don't know, I just haven't been liking it. Well, I mean, Smithy hasn't shown the Skarner, so we don't really know. I don't think it would be really his style.
I don't think that's a style.
I think whenever he has to do a forced engage, whenever it's like you got to go in there and get him, I think Smithy's not like. That's not his strength.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of strengths. It's not his strength.
Even if he's in that situation, I don't think he's going to pick Skarner.
Probably. I don't think that's the way Team Liquid's going to play.
Yeah.
So, let's talk about Optic versus Golden Guardians. This is a game.
Short segment.
Let's talk about picks really quick. Arrow picks Draven, and now Arrow's not good at Draven, but because he faced Golden Guardians, now he thinks he's really good with Draven.
Here's my thing. Anyone who says anything so far in the LCS about who is and isn't a good Draven player, I feel like it doesn't matter. Is Draven making plays to get kills? Like this game, there's one opportunity where you can get a play to get a kill, right? You really early game, you abuse the axe, you abuse the speed, you get the kill. He does it. He kills. I think he kills Matt, right? And that's super good. You shouldn't be able, in this meta. If there's kills happening in a 2v2 in bot lane, somebody's doing something wrong or somebody's doing something incredibly right.
Yeah.
So props to Arrow for that. For the rest of the game, like he got a quadra kill, but it wasn't him. Like, that wasn't the Draven, like the Draven god doing crazy things. That was just Golden Guardians collapsing in a team fight. Like, it just happens.
I would say that, I don't know, it's just weird picks, Draven. And then the Victor was a little weird.
It was weird, but it was great.
Out. Yeah, it worked out. I'd say that the only reason this game took so long is because Op decided to do that idiotic invade and totally set back Lemon.
Yeah. There was silliness this game. I mean, this is another
silly
situation
teams.
where
High and Matt just got
Skarner players who don't know what they're doing.
Got ganked real
It's
early.
not so much that it's that bad, because even when Skarner doesn't get a good ult off, he's tanky, he does some good damage, he's a disruptor, he has a lot of CC outside of his ult, he's got shields, he's not bad, but like, it's so obvious when it's not a great Skarner player, right?
Okay, this is how bad, look, this is how bad Arrow is at Draven. Even mid-game, he cannot clear wave.
Well, that's not bad at Draven. That's just Draven.
Yeah.
Draven doesn't clear waves.
I've seen
get a static shift for some reason early.
Real well.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was just tragic early game setup for. I mean, definitely Matt actually did do the one play that they could do to get back. I heard Arrow talking about in an interview. It was like, oh, there's basically the one thing they can do is they can kill a spot lane here, and then definitely Matt do it, and it's like, oh shit. And it doesn't matter that much because it didn't actually net them enough that it was gonna sway the game much. It let them an opening in, and Calista did a lot of work that game for what she could do, right? And Golden Guardians, I think, because of high and because of contracts, they're always going to be that team that's like looking for a way back in, right? And there's a lot of the times in a lot of the games that they have lost and that they're going to lose in the future, you're going to see moments where you're going to say, Golden Guardians have a turnaround. it's not going to matter because they're probably still going to lose.
Oh, yeah.
Probably. I don't know about this about this weekend though. But I think Optic, Golden Guardians. I think that both these teams are it's kind of sad because I think both of them are good with good players, and that they have been struggling because of some of the weaker players on their team, and that they've also both struggled a lot because this just happens to be a really stacked, in terms of roster, not in terms of team play, but in terms of roster, really stacked split of the NA LCS.
Yep.
We just have a lot of teams that are really good. If you told me last year, that Team Liquid's gonna sub out all their players and we're gonna get, Lorlo, Contract, High, Deftly, and Matt, I'd be like, hooray! I'd be so ecstatic. I'm like, oh, we're getting Loco Doco Coach too? Hooray! I'd be so happy. I'd be like, finally, we're getting back in it. And that just kind of shows you how, okay, this might be our 10th place roster now, but, it's not necessarily terrible just because of that. They're showing up, they're grabbing wins. This wasn't one of them. Could have been. Wasn't one of them. Yeah, I think we can probably move on
I
to
didn't
those.
hear you talk about it. What the hell?
There's not much to talk about.
I would say that
The bottom
you guys
teams.
saw,
Jared doesn't care about the
I-
bottom teams.
Not really.
yeah, you said
It's not
saw
unjustified.
contracts just basically kill himself and then drag High down with him.
Yeah, I think Contracts is one of the.
He's great. Well, he just wasn't
He's
great.
not- They're just
He's having some games
bad
where he's
teams.
just not at all.
Oh yeah,
It's sad.
but I mean he's still I agree with you. They're good players. They're just not doing well.
Okay.
Both teams suck though.
yeah.
So next game, let's talk about. This is now day 2. We're talking about Clutch Gaming versus TSM.
the memes.
This is
So they didn't ban Zoe. Why did you not ban Zoe?
There's no Zoe ban. The thing is, if you're not banning Zoe, against
You're going to lose.
well, it depends. Are you not banning Zoe against High? It's okay,
Or
that's
Huni.
fine.
Or
Yeah, are you not banning it against Huhi? Yeah, it's fine. Febivin,
Yeah.
Phoenix, Power of Evil. These are not players you want to have the Zoe.
You don't give them nuke chance.
You don't give them nukers.
Exactly.
These are players who, they know their way around some high burst
Which
mages.
what I'll say about TSM is
This is the second game in a row, isn't it? Where they just give up Zoe for no reason.
The thing about TSM is I don't think they have a lot of. I don't think they have a lot of skills. I think that they have a pretty good bot lane, and they their jungler's a little greedy, but really that's about all they have.
there we have the Haunter
Basically,
joke.
Haunter, if he wants to talk like the old Haunter, he needs to play better.
Oh yeah.
Definitely. I think
If anything, Mike Young was too greedy here. For one thing, Mike Young. Can we agree? Mike Young lost them this game.
okay. Yes,
Sure.
maybe. I think there's an argument for
they're
his
a bad
vent too.
team.
There's
They
an
were a
argument
bad
for his
team
vent team.
this
That was, I said
Nothing about
bot
this
lane.
game. I don't I know I said okay, Clutch, they're great, and they were great this game, but this is solely TSM's fault.
Okay, let me give you my argument. I know I've been harping on draft a little bit much this game or this episode, but let's talk about this draft. Now I'll run you down the TSM draft from bottom to top, and you'll tell me, does TSM really want this draft? You got Tarek, Tristana, Azir, Sejuani, Nar.
Sounds hella good for him.
Sounds good, right?
Yep.
Sounds pretty decent.
Yeah.
I think the only parts where I'd be like, Bjergsen and Azir, okay, you don't have as much impact on side lanes, stuff like that. You have Mike Young, Sejuani hasn't been great recently. But, otherwise, okay, that's generally a good draft.
Yeah.
Now, this is what you gave Clutch to get this draft. You gave them Zyre Khan bot lane. You gave them Zoe in the mid lane. You gave Lyra Skarner. Now, here's the disrespect. They gave Solo Camille. Now, if you're asking me to do the draft for TSM, I give Solo whatever the fuck he wants. He can have whatever he wants. But I'd be just as wrong. because Solo showed the hell up this game, and like he did, like overall he did really well. You'd say props to Solo this game. Good job, buddy. You know, you're a bottom tier, you know, top laner, but you really held your own. You really did good for the team. Except for around the Baron pit, he does this insane play against Sven, where it's literally, I rewatched it 4 times. I'm like, there's nothing he could have done, right? Like, he gets E'd on, and the E hits him right as he presses the W. If you stun Tristana while she's using her W to jump away, and any other CC, a knock-up, like a silence, anything else, she completes her jump while she's knocked up or silenced, right? That's how Tristana W works. But if you're stunned on the frame that you do it, guess what? You're sitting right where the fuck you were when you cast that W. And then next thing he does is he gets your stun, he gets the autos off, he's doing the damage, immediately coming out of stun, what's Tristana gonna do? She's gonna ult that bastard away. Guess what Camille can do? She can press R the frame second that she does that to dodge the ult. God! That play was, I think, out of all the top lane plays I've seen this entire split, I'm not saying Solo's the best top laner in the whole split. I'm just saying that was the best mechanical play I've seen from a top laner this entire split. I was thoroughly impressed with that.
I don't really remember it, but I'll take your word for it.
It was like the tri-bush, right?
Yeah,
in that area,
and I think it was Zyrene who was casting. He went a little bit, you know. I wouldn't have caught it either. I was just like, oh, it's Sven out of position. He didn't know. But he
that's
totally.
why I take notes. So I don't remember this shit.
But you know, otherwise, this is basically how. This is how you would expect it to go from this draft if you're expecting Solo not to get smashed on the Camille, right? Like, because TSM definitely could have just dove Solo over and over again, killed him a lot, and then won the game through that way. But if you're expecting Solo to show up, that doesn't happen. You get Zoe causing pressure, you get Zyra Rakan, like, pushing in the Tristana, Taric lane, like, all day. And then TSM, like, they don't even fight over dragons. I think it's 3 dragons for clutch by the end of it. I loved this play, Hakuho and Apollo literally just taking towers. Sven stays for, like, no reason. Yep. Hakuho's like, I'm just gonna flash ult W you, and then you're gonna die. And it's like, Sven's like, oh. Like, I don't know if Sven's bad. I don't think he's bad, but he's, like, playing on, like, a brain lag or something.
I'm gonna keep going back to this TSM bot lane, because I don't know why, but I'm still on them about it. It's just, I was watching their laning phase, and they're like, bot lane early has been really boring, but I still pay attention to it. And then freaking, he just kept letting himself get W'd by Rakan over and over again. Like, I was expecting him and Taric, okay, Rakan's gonna miss his W, I dodge it, Taric stuns him, and then we punish him. But no, they just let Zyra and Rakan just push him every lane. I think Rakan had his first like 5 W's on Sven, and then I'm just like, okay, what are you doing, dude? Yeah. You gotta punish him for that.
I think there's when I come this last we'll talk about TSM probably before we get to like draft rankings. Like, when I'm thinking about what TSM's problems are, I'm like, communication sucks, right? Your bot lane is okay. It's one thing to expect them to go even. They're losing lane, and then outside of lane they're getting like picked off. They're not in position. They're not doing good things, right? Especially Mithy. In the last few games, I think there's been some moments where you'd said Sven, but I think throughout the whole split, it's mostly been Mithy. And then, you know, you have Bjergsen not really affecting sidelines, or if he does affect sidelines, then it's like they're not really able to get that advantage to like snowball into like things. And I think that's where like the other thing is, what does TSM play for ever, except for maybe first turret sometimes and blue buff steals. It's like, that's all they care about. Like, how many dragons have TSM given over? They're just like, a dragon can go to them. Like, this game, they were like, I'm pretty sure it was this game, or it was another game where they were like, they were pushing on all lanes. They had like river control. They allow Clutch to like come in, bully them off drag, and then take drag, and then leave. And it's like,
they do that several times, I'm pretty sure.
I'm like, what just happened?
I've noticed that a lot with a couple of teams, is just this like little consideration for drag, and it really is super important, and they need to start I don't know why you would not want fight for drag. Every time.
I mean, if you're gonna fight and people are gonna die and you might get that snowballed against you and it's a Cloud Drake, don't do it. Like, don't
no.
Nobody's
If it's
saying
a Cloud Drake,
no one's saying to do that.
But
like,
if it's infernal,
if it's an ocean or a mountain. Now the point isn't whether or not you're fighting over it, but like if you have the advantage and you can push that advantage for the dragon, and you instead are like, let's get this blue buff.
I think it's mountain. It's mountain people. They don't value mountain drakes, and that's a big mistake.
That's true, but it happened for Infernal this game. TSM literally is just like, let's give them an Infernal and 2 other drakes, but we get 4 out of the 5 blue buffs, and it's like, okay, TSM, that's fine. They still have Zoe. She needs 1 spell rotation to kill you. Azir might need all of it.
Alright, we're too angry about this game.
We gotta keep going on this.
What else do you have to say?
Go
hard on it.
Go hard on it.
Okay, so
let it all out.
Alright, so first of all, I want to start hearing Lyra said a lot more. I want to see his name spoken a lot more and speaking about top junglers in NA. He's been, at least for the past couple games, he's been playing really well.
We talked about him last week a little bit in terms of him underperforming from last split.
Yeah.
But I think in terms
he's getting back to form from last split, I think.
And compared to the larger jungle pool, I think he's definitely in the top 3 conversation.
So Lyra, good. Fevin, really good. But then back to TSM, they're just playing boring teams. I remember I'm watching NRG or freaking Dignitas, when there's boring teams, they just TSM, they don't lose in 20 minutes, they slowly die, which I think is worse. They just slowly give up early, mid, and by late game they're like, okay, we're gonna try to go against a team that's late game skilling, has late game skilling, but we don't. And then it's like, oh, you lost the game in 40 minutes. I'm like, just do something crazy, lose at 20, maybe you win. Don't just slowly die like that every game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or in this case, they were like, we have late game scaling, so we'll just wait for that, even when we have advantages.
Yep.
And this team that needs to get ahead early and snowball that lead into the future, we'll let them do that. And it's like, oh, well, fuck you too.
Fuck, man. I thought you were going to go hard on it, man.
That's pretty
hard.
He'll go harder.
Build the hype up.
He'll go harder on Team Liquid when we get to the last game, alright?
No.
Alright, so we have, the game of the week, not my personal favorite. I mean, I was happy, to the extent that I love my board Lorlo, I love my board Matt, I've always had respect for High. Contract was great, but fuck you all. So.
Contract's playing smarter. He's playing smarter, definitely. In this game especially, he's playing a lot smarter. He knows he's not jumping in all of the time. He knows when to back out this time. He's definitely learning. But in my opinion, the entire time, we all know what lost this game, but I want to talk about it, Smithy, really quick, it felt to me every single time he had no idea when he was supposed to engage for these fights. It just felt like he had no idea what was going on. Nothing happening had any, every time he engages, it's nonsensical. It's why now?
Yeah.
Every time you jump in, you're all dead. It's gone. It's every single engage was was awful.
Yeah, if we're talking about Team Liquid TSM, and you telling me TSM beat Team Liquid, and you show me this VOD, and you cover up the nameplates, and you show me it's TSM members against Team Liquid members, and this is their draft. Well, I'm like, oh well, TL totally could have won this, but we jump in, dive to get random kills at random times, and totally disrespect the enemy. And the enemy plays clean, they play concise, they overextend once. But it doesn't matter because they come back and they end the game cleanly. I'm like, that I'm like, you deserve to lose there. We're talking about great. Golden Guardians though.
TL did a great thing though today. Was that play almost a quadra kill, and the entire just decimation of the outer turrets. That was a fantastic move. That was an awesome.
Oh, when they did that and they got all 3 turrets.
It was cool. I mean, the issue was just
Team Liquid are a good team.
Yeah.
They know how to do good things. They, for some reason, said Golden Guardians. let's give them these advantages over and over again. The truth of the matter is, though, I don't want to leave it there. I don't want to leave it there to say Team Liquid's a good team that disrespected, gave away too much, and then lost because of that. Because, truthfully, like, if you do what Team Liquid did against Optic, against FlyQuest, against 100 Thieves, or CLG, Team Liquid still wins that. They can throw away so many kills to those teams. And they still will, like, if they do that play where they get all 3 turrets, where they come back from a team fight and they get that much from it, equalizing the gold, if they do that against those teams, they still win, right? They're better enough to do that. Golden Guardians still, every single time Team Liquid threw away an advantage, Golden Guardians took that and then some, right? Every single time. It was like 5 different times. They overextend once. Lorlo's like, I got the ult, guys! Dives past 2 turrets, dies, and then the whole team gets, like, quadra killed, right? That happens, and the gold equalizes, and then for sure you're just like, Team Liquid gotta win this, right? No, Golden Guardians, it doesn't even look like they're phased. They're like, well, we're still winning. And Team Liquid's like, oh, you are? Oh! And, like, Golden Guardians actually, like, totally smashed them. I'm like, this is crazy, like, and we're talking about MVP players. We talked about contracts a little bit. Lorlo's.
I think it was definitely Lorlo because, like, you were saying, like, contracts playing smarter. I didn't think he was just playing harder. Like, he just went Skarner.
He went,
I'm gonna get all my full movement speed. I'm just gonna look. I'm not gonna stop. I'm going straight for it. And then Lorlo backed it up with damage. I saw, like, there was, like, one team fight. Lorlo had more damage than both AD carries from me. I was like, okay, Lorlo, you're just gonna do everything.
I saw him make U-turns when he said, you say he went straight for it. I saw him making U-turns.
No, but he he would just go up and
Lorlo, are we gonna do this? Nope.
Lorlo was so ahead that Congress goes like, okay, I can't get to the back. I'm just gonna pull the tank, and they kill the tank somehow.
Exactly.
I'm just like, oh, it's over.
Like he does stuff like he zooms in. Somebody flashes, and he's like, all right. It's like, you can do that.
Thank you.
You're Skarner. You can do that. Like, there's no punishment available. Yeah. You can't punish that. What are you gonna do?
He was zoomy throughout this.
That was fun to watch.
This is the best Skarner game I think we've
done.
Yeah,
that was really fun.
Now we have to talk about it.
Well, let me get through some other points first. I wanted to also just say, I think that, like, contracts, when I want to clarify about contracts, contracts, like, got them the lead, right?
Yeah.
Lorlo made the play to win them the game, and that didn't work. Then he did the play to save them the game, and it worked, and they won the game off of Lorlo. So I love that it feels like Lorlo's, like, still, he was like this on Team Liquid too, and it also wasn't, like, super effective then because it was a bad team with lots of problems. But, like, Lorlo's not the type of player to say, I'm against, like, Impact, or I'm against Someday, or I'm against Huni. I can't do the play to win the game. No, he's like, I will do the play to win the game. And I love that about Lorlo. I think it's one of the things that makes him one of my favorite players in the modern LCS era.
Yeah, he's good.
So bring up your shit. Yeah, what the fuck does Sion do? Why would anyone pick Sion ever?
You run away and you can't get disabled when you're running away.
You can't get disabled while you're running away. It's true. I mean, you can get somebody who can jump in front of you, but, you know, if you're a real, you know, wuss, you can start right away before they can ever do that.
This is what's great about Sion. This is what Sion does. You can die, and you can die again.
You get 2 for 1, right? It doesn't go on your KDA.
It's really, I mean, it really is, like, it is the meta, I feel. And,
yeah,
like, so, remember when the Sion rework came out, everybody was like, this is awesome, this is great. I mean, most people were playing him support, but still, it was, you know, it was still pretty good. Like, you definitely suffered early game, but you could definitely carry at the end. And now you can't do anything with him.
Do you know, so here's the thing about Sion. I actually have loved Sion for a long time, which is what infuriates me the most about seeing him in the next few games we're going to talk about. Do you guys know anything about ADD?
Yes.
The player ADD. The player ADD. No. I think he's called Ad, actually, is what he'd like to be called. But anyway, ADD is what I know him as. He's a player in Korea on MVP, and right now they're the worst team in the split in the league. But he's been in the fact that you're a bottom team in the Korean league for like 3 years in a row. That means something. You're doing something right. And he's actually taken some games off SKT when they were good against KT Rolster. Like like MVP have had good spots. Here's one of the things that they do sometimes. They're like, let's give ADD's Sion, and no one else is playing Sion. This is like when no one's playing Sion. He's just like, I'm playing Sion, and and he's like winning like his team games off of it. And the reason it works is because you pick it in metas where like, if you pick any other tank, the tank gets abused and gets killed and dies in lane over and over again. You lose, you get snowballed off of from that Lane, and then that impacts the rest of the map, and you lose the game. As Sion in lane, you never have to. You usually as a tank against a carry, a really abusive carry, you either get farm or you live, right? A lot of the times you're faced with that. You're forced to face that consequence, right? You either live or you stay and get farm and you die, right? Happens a lot. Sion never has to worry about that. Like he always is able to either wave clear safely, or he's able to wave clear safely until it becomes a point where he would die if he's another tank, and he can just ult away. So he gets to be a fully built with lots of items, full big old tank in the mid and late game, who hasn't fed over a bunch of kills to the enemy carry. So then you're just like winning games off the fact that like I'm a big old tank and you're a useless carry who didn't get good advantages. I love that about Sion, and obviously if you know how to use the ult, it's a good engage.
Yeah.
TL doesn't know how to play Sion. In fact, doesn't know how to play Sion.
Did anybody
who pulled it out?
Pull it out?
No.
And here's my issue. If you're obviously they pulled it out because they saw that game. What made them think that's a good idea to pull it out?
The thing is,
what about that game made it even seem like a good idea?
Gnar is he's a lane bully who can get advantages, who can snowball that to win. But does he need to? No, not all the time. Especially if he has other win conditions like Skarner, late game Varus, like Orianna Ball. Like there's a lot of things that like Gnar can do to impact the game, right? Like he doesn't need to, and like the fact that I'm not even certain if Team Liquid picked the Gnar as like, or it picked the Sion as a counter in the Gnar. I have no idea. I'm just mad about Sion. Maybe if we keep talking about other games, I can tell you why even more.
I like to see teams play Illaoi more. Illaoi more.
I love like, Lorlo's Illaoi.
Yeah, I'm just like, you see him go well. I'm like, why are you going to pick Sion? Like, do something risky, but has like a lot of... If it works out, then it works out really well.
Well, don't pick it in an Gnar, please. Don't pick it in an Gnar.
I don't know. Do something spicy.
I'm not
I don't want to see Sion anymore.
I'm not a fan of allowing the Gnar.
Also, Matt was blocking Sion's ults really well. He would not let Sion get to the back line.
Yeah, like I said, you can't just say that Teal Liquid threw like in draft or in game. Like a lot of it was just like, Golden Guardians played really well. Fox versus C9. This is a sad game.
How long have we been going? Should we take a break?
Hour two? No, we're not going to take breaks. So let's finish up the last 3 games. Then we'll take a break. Then we'll do patch notes. Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Edit this out.
So let's talk about Fox versus Cloud9. We got a really sad game. This was so when we say Cloud9's good, I made the point to talk about this earlier. I'm like, okay, Smoothie is a god. Never lose lane, a sneaky and smoothie, right? They sometimes like get kills. They're like good. I think they give up 1 against Echo Fox this game actually, which is kind of sad. But
was that? Hold on. But are you saying that it's Smoothie's fault? Because I say it's Sneaky's fault.
No, it was Sneaky's fault. But it wasn't a big mistake. I think it was just like blatant. It was kind of tragic. I think sometimes that just happens and. It really shouldn't be happening, but I think what I remember from the situation was it was just like unlucky like positioning and like.
Well, Huni was hungry for red licorice.
Oh, he was. But we talk about that. No, we're editing that out for sure.
Unfortunately, black licorice isn't for everyone, but Huni loves it.
So we talk about Cloud9 as this team that's like Sneaky and Smoothie are god. They'll win lane or they'll go even. Smoothie will go up top lane and they'll camp for Licorice and they'll get him ahead and they'll get kills.
Yep.
And they just like they didn't do any of that this game. And it's like, oh, you wanted to lose really quickly.
Yeah, this was a troll game. As soon as I saw the pick Lucian, I was like, oh, you're trolling. And I was like, okay, C9's going to lose this game. And they did. I was like, what did you guys expect? Playing against the Lucian player. Why would you play Lucian? It's like,
because he wants to do the thing.
They had to be trolling. Like,
and he's like, I'm getting him. I'm going to prove it. I'm going to prove myself. I'm going to be better than Hooney. Yeah.
Why would you drop to 0-2 against the biggest rival in the split?
Why would you? I don't think they chose to. I think they actually were like. I think Dardock actually was like sneaking past wards. They actually thought he wasn't going to be there. I think.
But then why not just camp the Lucian if you know the only way he's going to be useful is if you camp Lucian and somehow get him fed?
I think it had to do with the time where they were like a minute away from when they wanted to bring the Jarvan up to Lucian to get the gank off, and right when they were like about to rotate him up, Dardock comes in and kills or doesn't kill, but like blows all the sums and like gets some health off of the Lucian. And then it's like, oh, we can't do it now. We have to wait another like 3 minutes. And then it's like a minute or two later, it's like, oh, we're back. We back again.
You're back. You're 0-6 now.
We're my friend.
You say this match was sad. I say no. This was a fun match.
It was
the
fun.
Top lane was so fun.
But it was sad. But how much more fun it would have been if two of the best teams
are great, like do this great matchup. Yes.
Top lane went 0-6. That's a boring lane.
Okay,
they're 6K behind at like 15 minutes in the game. It's like and when you have Gangplank, Vladimir, and Callista
that Vlad was
ahead of gold by like even like 1 or 2K, you're like, what's the win condition anymore? Like, you got the late game scalers ahead in gold early. Like, what are you supposed to do? And it's like, Cloud9 actually did do good stuff this game, as much as you can do when you have a 0-6 solution.
Yep.
They, actually take a random turnaround, get an ace, take the Baron. And this is what I love about teams like Echo Fox, teams like Golden Guardians, teams like Clutch Gaming. It's like, something goes wrong, something messes up, then they come right back as if it didn't happen.
Yep.
And then, like, take what they're strong, and then, like, push that, get the advantage back, win the game. I'm like, I love it. I love it, because internationally, what is going to happen internationally when an NA team gets a lead over a Korean team? The Korean team is going to find the one thing they can do to get back into the game. Right? This happens every single time. And what usually happens, the NA team is like, dang it, they found the one thing! What can we do now? Let's stall out and wait! Oh no, we lost! We need a team at MSI and at Worlds who is going to get ahead, push that advantage, even to the point of making a mistake and throwing it away, right? And when that happens, they need to go back, take what they're strong at, go pointedly to a certain specific part of the map or part of the team fight that they can go in and get an advantage, win a fight, even if they're losing some things, and they just need to bring it home. I think it's what CLG was always able to do internationally, right?
Yep.
CLG in the past few years, when they actually did go to international tournaments, they were like, we don't care if we get behind. We're still fighting you. We're still finding ways. Huhi, Stixay, like, they were like gods, and we thought they were awesome because of this. They come back to NA, and then they suck again. But, like, we need a team that does stuff like that internationally. That's what I'd love to see. Let's, if anyone has anything else to say, real quick.
MVPs, I feel, are Altic and Adrian.
They were really good this game.
Amazingly. They were awesome this game.
I think you can give them
so enjoyable.
I think you can give them commendations. I think if you're talking about MVP, you have to say Dardock because he snuck past Vision, got ahead, got the 0-6 solution like down. I think that wins them the game right there. Like, even the thing is, yes, Altic and Adrian did great things to help win the game, and you don't usually expect them to be players of that caliber. But the thing is, they didn't have to do any of that. Cloud9 like loses this game no matter what to Echo Fox because of what Dardock did, right? Like, I think that's amazing. Now, yeah, I agree. I'll concede that Altic and Adrian are way better than I think anybody guessed they were going to be.
Yeah, my biggest takeaway was, like, yeah, you were saying, like, the entire split, Fox is the best team because of that, because they can recover from mistakes. And that's, like, the biggest thing for that team. It's like, and that shows, like, even like the most talented teams like TSM, it's like if you can't recover from a mistake, no matter how much talent you have, it's not going to lead to anything. That's just Fox's greatest, I think, quality is coming back from mistakes.
Jensen was good though. Jensen beat Phoenix in the mid lane.
Jensen was great, but it doesn't like I said, like Jensen gets like 5-1 or something. He's massive. Oriana, Rabadon's death cap, everything.
Yeah,
and it's like, what the fuck? Who cares? Like, he destroyed your top lane. Lucian's not a champion anymore. Anyway, let's go on to 100 Thieves CLG. This was, oh my gosh. This was actually a fun game.
That was really fun.
But it's the worst
Something suffers in lane and gives first blood. I wonder why.
Yeah.
Is it Scion again?
Is it maybe Scion again?
I was skeptical as the fucking panel was about Bard, but Afro's Bard won the game basically.
Yeah, you should have picked Bard both games.
Clean as fuck. I love it. Afro's been saying that he's been like trying to play Bard. I mean, I was skeptical when I saw Afro's first item was Sheen, and then he goes into Iceborne Gauntlet. I'm like, okay, Afro, you know better than I do. You play solo queue. I don't play support solo queue, so I'll trust you. But as far as I know, that's not your build.
I shouldn't have snapped. Sorry.
That's fine.
Cody's doing better. Ryu's doing better. We're stealing the towers.
And Scion won a game here.
Afro getting caught less.
We actually got caught a lot, but that was fine. He was soaking ults.
And we 100 thieved the Baron. That was friggin' amazing, dude. I love that. Oh man, it was. But overall, CLG didn't underperform really. Who he played kind of defensively, he kind of gave a lot of protection. He played really well. Who am I forgetting right now on CLG that performed really well?
No one really. I think that's it.
I think, but I think it was a good matchup. I don't think CLG was awful or anything, and so yeah, I think it was a really good game.
Yeah, I mean, it was from a macro perspective, from a team coordination perspective, from a draft perspective, like there's just so much that was just like so bad from this game.
Welcome to Micah shoots everything Josiah says down. Like
from a player perspective, I think a lot of players made like really good plays. Like you see Bard popping off, you see Cody Sun popping off, you see CLG even showing some good things like Kuki on Corki. Like there's like, and like I think like that you see a lot of like you were talking about earlier, like Reignover being like one of the better junglers in the LCS. I think that's still true, despite CLG being such a shit-stained team. Like Reignover is still maybe it's just my Team Liquid in me. The like last split, I basically it's like how could you not praise Reignover for some of the things he's done?
Yeah, he's the best player on CLG.
But like
he definitely is.
It's like they're still a bad team. Like you can't get around that. They're a terrible team. How much is that Reignover's fault? It's hard to say from outside the team. But
well, you win game when you have wall hacks.
I thought Ryu played a lot better, but I think that has a lot to do with the fact he's on Rise. I think that when he's off his comfort champs, it's like
that's very true. I agree completely with that.
I think it's like really sad.
Frankly, he kind of plays Rise the best right now. The Rise rework confuses me, but he's doing
which one?
Really good.
The fifth one.
I have not played him since the first rework.
Yeah.
And this whole teleport thing, it confuses me, but
he plays really well.
He utilizes it in a very creative way,
and we don't have the stopwatch teleport anymore. So like he was able to get good teleports even without the stopwatch. It's like
it's really good. Like juked.
He juked
two ults
right
and
over.
then he came back in and out.
It was really good. Beautiful. I loved it. And then I think that Scion does nothing. Jax does so little as a jungler, right? Mm-hmm. And then 100 Thieves still wins. Even though, like, look at all the, like, agency on CLG's side. You had Gnar, Sejuani, Taric, and, like, Ezreal to set them up for the stuff. And they still, like, they just weren't really able to, like, make plays to, like, win, to get leads and win, right? Mm-hmm. It just still was, like, basically all anybody can do is stall that game out for a long time, win small fights, win small skirmishes, and then 100 Thieves takes it away because they have Aframo and they have Ryu. And it's like, okay.
Yeah. If I was a CLG fan, I think I'd want Stixie and Darshan gone at this point. Like they've been.
I know about Darshan, man.
Darshan's been. I think.
The
Stixie's
first half
definitely
of
the
the
worst.
split, he was their best player for sure.
He's playing so horribly, Darshan. He's
The last
like,
few games, yeah.
it's like, what do you? He's not.
But
supposed
Six,
to be,
I mean, I agree with you on Six.
Him and Stixie are supposed to be the stable. They're the two remaining from the OG squad. They're supposed to be consistent.
What's Bifrost
and
doing?
then
What's Bifrost doing?
he's new. I'm talking about these old guys who've been there. Supposed to be consistent. The cornerstones of this team.
Yeah, but they're
like,
consistently like.
Let them go. Bring in some new talent.
But
and then.
That logic
You're not going to win.
Sense.
You're not going to win in this league.
That logic doesn't make sense to me because to me it's like, okay, the old CLG, the cornerstones to me were Aframu, Huhi, and Xmithy.
Yeah, for that team. But for this current team, though.
When Dardoch came in and then was kicked, and then Omar God comes in, it's like only Huhi, Darshan, and Aframu. When Darshan leaves, you see Huhi suffering, even though he's not like he's playing terrible. Stixie is not supposed to be a cornerstone. He's never been a cornerstone. He's been like this like pop-off carry who's like mostly struggled for the past year and a half and like is getting shit on now. Like honestly,
exactly. So if he can't be the cornerstone, then get rid of him.
But he doesn't need to be the cornerstone on this team. He just needs to perform at any level, and that's what he's failing at. Like I think like to say that he's not being the cornerstone is like giving too much like credit to Stixie. To be like, I feel like, well, there's failing to be the cornerstone, which Bifrost is doing, for instance, and for like, you know, even like, and Darshan's failing to do that. Huhi's failing to do that. The only one who's not failing to do that is Rainover, but it doesn't matter too much because everybody else is like garbage. Stixie is like failing to do anything good.
Exactly.
Like, so I'm like, regardless of who, like cornerstones,
no, that's why like
reliable players.
What I'm saying is that if he's not going to perform on the performance level, and he's not going to bring that veteran savvy and wisdom, then why even bother keeping him?
There's nothing.
It's like,
there's nothing.
I see no reason to keep him. And Darshan, I just feel he's going to keep going on the decline. Like maybe he can do a high thing, like go to some other team and then do something cool, like fly high to fly for a little while or something.
No, because the Darshan thing is to
know.
like suck and then suddenly be great again on the same team. Like that's the Darshan. So I think we just kind of gotta. I mean, honestly, who cares? CLG fans suck. I'm just kidding. You need some new players. I think Stixie for sure. If you're gonna replace Darshan, who the hell are you replacing him with? You're not getting a Korean. Because you're keeping
some
Huhi.
academy team kid. Like,
you're
try to find your own
Huhi
licorice. Try to find your own licorice.
The thing is, they looked into the pool of top laners in Challenger, and they found the one gem, and then they found the other guy who could hold his own, and that's Solo, and that's Licorice, right? There's nobody else. There's Brandini. Do you want Brandini?
Is Dyra still a challenger?
He's on Echo Fox. He's an Echo Fox.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
All right, let's move on. Last game before we take a little bit break. Let's talk about FlyQuest versus Optic.
Oh my god, it was a fun match.
This was a fun match. I loved it.
I'm glad to see Caitlyn. I liked that. I like seeing Caitlyn picks. It's a lot of fun to watch the champ just for the friggin' snipes and the quick burns that she can do if she's utilized well, in which she was pretty well utilized this game.
Yeah.
And Arrow just thinks he's a Draven god now. Don't they learn? By the way, is this a pride thing? By the way, guys, look how big my Scion is.
Was the oh yeah,
my Scion's bigger than your Scion.
Okay, the Scion's dumb. Scion does nothing still. But Draven wasn't bad this game. Again, I'm like, it's still not great. Like, still, like, okay. Maybe it's bad in the context of saying, if you're picking Tristana, if you're picking Varus, if you're picking, like, Caitlyn, like, literally any other top-tier ADC, you have either more of what Draven's good at, or, like, some good damage and some agency to make plays, right? Draven just has, like, damage and, like, lifesteal, like, compatibility, right? And then he has like a little bit of self-PL. It's not great, but it's not like Arrow's a bad Draven. He's playing good Draven. Yeah. Draven's, you just shouldn't pick Draven. That's the truth is, like, don't pick it.
Do you know the bans for that game? What did they
say it was? 2 and 6 for Draven? Do you know
the ADC bans that game? What were his options?
I don't remember. Because if he was pinched...
You can talk about it, but if you don't know...
No, because he literally said in the post-game interview from the Optic win from the last week against, I think it was either 100 Thieves or CLG, I don't remember. But, like, he literally said in the post-game, he's like, oh yeah, are you gonna pick Draven next week? And he's like, yeah, I will.
Oh,
and
okay.
It's like, okay, well, you literally did.
Oh,
So,
okay.
what the fuck? And it's hard to, the real tragedy is this. Optic is actually, like, the past few weeks, it's like, even when Optic loses, they look okay because Power of Evil and Arrow are carrying.
Yeah.
And the rest of the team isn't living up to it. This last few games of this weekend, the team has been living up to them. They have been. I think, like, their other players, like, I think Lemon has not been playing bad this weekend, right? And, and Acadian, like, hasn't been playing great, but he like, obviously, I have a, gripe with his Skarner, but, like, just because he's not a great Skarner doesn't mean he's not playing a good jungle, right? And I think his Sejuani was great. I just,
But let's face it, Turtle put Arrow in his place this match. Like,
no, he didn't.
Oh,
Flame put the entire team in the basket when he dunked him.
Turtle fanboy.
Shut up!
Flame jumped. Okay, Optic should have won the game. Flame freaking saved the whole thing.
What? Yeah. Fly wasted their Rift Herald. Like, they got some objectives, but, like, they just could not, like, Optic played really defensively in the mid-game, and it really helped because of how hard Fly was going, but it just was not enough. Yeah, Optic should have won that if it was not for Flame.
Yeah, I think, I mean, obviously, there's some good play from
Onda was
Wild
first.
Turtle. I think that finally seeing Stunt again on the lineup was good. He was, like, his Janna was actually good peel, and I think it was mostly like Flame and Onda late game, not Onda mid game. Onda mid game was face checking Syndra and dying instantly. Yeah, I think that's basically it when it comes to Fly. Doesn't look great, but they also don't look like terrible. Like, I don't know what to say about Fly because
Fly
we just haven't
the FlyQuest or
FlyQuest. I hate that I have to clarify that. That's so silly. That's so silly. But the thing is, how many games, not just like weeks, but like how many games total have we seen the full starting roster for FlyQuest?
Like
maybe
two,
maybe two
like
or three.
The past three.
No, because we had JJ sub in for Stunt.
Oh, that's right. So
two different
full,
games.
Full squad, like two, I think.
No, we've had like one or two.
That's very true.
Of like, because what I consider to be their starting roster, at least what it should be, their starting roster is Flame, Onda, Fly, Stunt. Oh my gosh, Wild Turtle. So I was forgetting for some reason. But we've only seen a few games. I have no idea what to think of them because, like, weird things sometimes happen when the five of them are together. Like this game, like, just like random Onda face checks. Like, I don't know, just silly things. Yeah, I think that'll be it for our game by game breakdown. So let's jump into the in our power rankings. I want to talk about what do you think for this week? Not talking necessarily about the other weeks that we are thinking are in the future or in the past. For this week, what is your power rankings? Let's go top to bottom, starting with Josiah. What do you think?
Power rankings?
Yeah, so
Explain.
just list the teams in the order of how strong are
okay.
they.
I mean, I would have said C9 at the top, but really this has proven, like, even the game they won, they struggled.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to put Echo Fox at the top. I'm going to put C9 still below it, but that can definitely change next week. We'll see. But Echo Fox is performing the best right now, and I even see them winning the split.
Yeah.
So, under C9, that's hard. I guess I'll put Clutch. Just because, well, CLG's not doing well, and Clutch is proving themselves to be really strong. They're getting better.
Did you just qualify that with like CLG? I hope CLG's near the bottom of your list.
I'm just saying. It's like, with CLG, I've been doing good.
You're making fun of me, Riz.
Maybe a little bit. I just love how you qualified it with, like, CLG doing bad.
Alright, well...
Who's your number 4th?
My 4th is Honey Thieves.
Honey,
Alright?
how?
Okay,
Ooh,
because
okay.
Spicy.
they're 5 and 5.
I literally said this week.
This week.
I think they went 0-2 this week, didn't they? Am I wrong?
They did not
One-
go
one-
1-2
they
this
beat
week. They
CLG.
1-1. They
1-1.
beat CLG.
They lost Echo Fox, and you're right. But was that really a win?
It was! It really was! I will put them there. I think they don't have their shit together right now. But they will have their shit together. They have a great coach.
Okay, so if
they have a really good coach. And they're going to bring themselves together. They're going to be able to do whatever trust shit that media's talking about. It's going to happen. I don't know why they've been losing recently. I mean, we know why they've been losing recently, but I'm seeing the hope. I'm seeing Cody Sun get better. I'm seeing Ryu getting back to where he's supposed to be. I put them to my number 4.
Okay, but come on. Honestly, like, if I'm doing, like, a power rankings, right, like, and I'm looking towards the future, I'm putting TSM in the top 2, right?
No! These are my power rankings!
Okay.
Mine!
Okay. I'll let our viewers rip you apart. What do you got number 5?
It'll be hard to rip me apart without anybody to be there ripping me apart.
What do you got for number 5?
Number 5, I'm going to put TSM. TSM
You know that Team Liquid's
are
a team,
going
right?
to, yeah.
Whoa.
I'm joking, okay?
Controversial.
Team Liquid was probably be in my 5th position.
Okay.
Definitely. They're suffering, but...
Saved, chat. Saved.
Alright. Probably below them, TSM.
Okay.
Then, Guardians are still at the bottom of the list.
Really?
And I guess that leaves Optic.
You have 2 more. You have Optic, FlyQuest,
Oh,
and you have
FlyQuest.
CLG.
FlyQuest, I'm going to actually put above Optic. Because I see more
Give me
room
your
for
6.
improvement.
Give me your number 6, because that's a playoff spot.
My 6? Who did I say?
Oh, sorry,
was
you
my
said
5?
TSM 6. So give me your
TSM.
7th. Give me your 7th.
My 7th is... How many spots? I'm bad at math, man. I'm bad at math.
CLG, you got Optic, you got FlyQuest, and Golden Guardians. Who's the best of those 4 teams?
I'm gonna say FlyQuest.
FlyQuest?
Because Turtle and Fly are gonna bring it back, and they're at least gonna fly above the rest of these teams.
Alright.
I'm gonna put Optic, then CLG, then Golden Guardians. Golden Guardians will not come back from any of this, really. I just don't see it happening.
Alright. JR.
Yep.
Save us from
All right.
this.
I
I preface this very particularly. This week, for this week's performance.
I'll stick to this
Power
week.
rank us for this week.
Okay, I'll stick to this week, but then give a little tidbit on what I think about the future. Okay.
Okay.
First of all, it's Echo Fox. That's number 1. Second is C9. Although playoffs, I'm pretty sure C9 could beat Echo Fox in a series. Third would be Counter Logic. 4th would be...
What did you say? Counter Logic Gaming? CLG?
Yeah. Oh, Counter Logic. I mean, Clutch Gaming.
I'm like,
Clutch
what
Gaming.
the fuck?
Clutch Gaming.
To be honest.
And then...
I was super surprised how you just breezed by it like you weren't going to defend it. I was like, hold on, we got to talk about this.
Clutch Gaming, but I don't think they have enough talent to go far in playoffs. And then...
That makes sense.
Team Liquid, which is a team I think do pretty well in playoffs. After Team Liquid... I would be fun and put Optic above TSM. Optic, and then TSM, Golden Guardians, FlyQuest, and then CLG.
Not bad. I like your power rankings. A little different than mine, maybe. Maybe. We'll see. Okay, so you got to put Echo Fox top, obviously. Top of the list, number 1. This is my power rankings, by the way, for the week. Yes, I'll put C9 in the 2nd position. I think the main reason why I'll do that is because, I don't think, because of the Echo Fox game, it's hard to say that Cloud9 actually performed at the 2nd best level of the week. But what I'll qualify that with is that Cloud9 showed us this week that they're still the only other team other than Echo Fox that knows, like, its identity and is playing towards its identity like every game that they can, right? And that's just that sets them above any other teams in my opinion. So like for me, it's like you have Echo Fox, you have Cloud9, then there's this drop off where it's like, okay, teams can start to come up to their level. Maybe they have the rosters to do so, but right now nobody's bridging that gap, at least so far. They definitely can. I think that they can, but we'll see what comes in the future. Third is hard because, you know, I don't think that... I think that TL still showed that they're like a top tier team this week, despite the Golden Guardians loss. I think that they showed really good things in the first game against CLG, but because that was CLG, and because they did lose against the Golden Guardians, I can't put them above Clutch. I think you guys are right in putting Clutch third. I think it's the obvious choice. Then I think I actually am going to go ahead. I'm going to do the surprising one. I'm going to go ahead and put Golden Guardians as fourth.
Whoa.
Also above Team Liquid.
Whoa.
I think that this week, the Golden Guardians that we were shown this week, we saw the first game against Optic, where tragedy happened in the first few minutes in a draft that they couldn't have prepared for, that was really weird, and that they fought all game to come back from, but weren't able to, right? And they obviously still have some issues, some coordination problems, but then I think their victory against Team Liquid was so clean that I think it's the best, like, coordinated, concentrated understanding of the game and execution of it that we saw this week from a team that wasn't Echo Fox or Cloud9. And I gotta respect that. I think Clutch showed some really clean, safe play, and it capitalized a lot of people's mistakes, which I think puts them above Golden Guardians. But I love what I saw from Golden Guardians, and right after them I'm gonna have to put Team Liquid, which is pretty obvious. They had to be somewhere up there in the upper echelon. I think then I'm gonna put it's easy to take the bait and put TSM super low, but I think TSM do slot in here. I do think they showed better play than Optic. You know, I think Optic was still having really big problems with the bot lane. I think that Draven was a weird clutch. Or what am I looking? What word am I looking for? Like a crutch for them. You know, I don't know what's going on with Arrow and Lemonation, but Lemonation looked a lot better. I have to wonder whether or not that was because the game was so like mid jungle centric and there was a lot of tension in the bot lane. Then I'll go ahead. Man, who else do we have left? We have
Fly CLG.
Fly CLG. Is that it? No, we have one more that I'm forgetting about. I think it was somebody you guys rated a lot. Oh, it's 100 Thieves.
Oh yeah, 100 Thieves.
Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna say FlyQuest.
I think I skipped 100 Thieves.
CLG 100 Thieves. Yeah, you did skip 100 Thieves. Let's put him back in your list. Where do you put 100 Thieves?
I don't even know. Shoot. I don't know if I could put him over Golden Guardians, but I put him over TSM. Just put him below Golden Guardians.
All right. 100. That's above Fly and CLG.
Yeah.
Y'all are crazy. Are you guys alright? Are you feeling okay?
I'm sorry. Did you see the same games that I saw this week?
I saw them. And
I saw
don't think they meant anything.
so I saw 100 Thieves loss first against
we talked
Echo
about
Fox.
This. We talked about this.
Disgusting game, and then I saw 100 Thieves win the worst game that I've ever seen a team win
disagree.
from.
We're just talking about this
game.
this week. I'd have to stick with
It
it.
was absolute clown fiesta. Did you the
Y'all are out of your minds.
iconic
Out
okay.
of your minds.
100 Thieves won a game where when 3 members of CLG flashed out to escape the Baron, Stixay used his auto attack to hit the blast cone and blasted all 3 of them back into the Baron pit where 100 Thieves are waiting for them. That's who you won the game against. Like, I just don't think you can take much pride in that. That's like the worst mistake we've ever seen happen in like LCS for like the whole split. And in a 50+ minute clown fiesta, I'm shutting the book on this. 100 Thieves, worst team in the LCS this week. I also have faith in Prolly. I also have faith in Aframu, and particularly Someday. And I don't know about Meteos and Ryu. I think they're wild cards. I think that it's hard to imagine them like doing anything either bad or good. Like they're just gonna kind of do what they do, and we'll find out about why afterwards. But I don't see them as the worst team in the league. I see them as a team that's gonna probably stick around this kind of middle-ish position, get into playoffs as a 5th or 6th seed, and maybe do some surprising things in playoffs. But, that's...
Well, I see something wrong with your head.
Okay. We'll see by the end of the split. That's why we record these things and put them out in the public. Anyway, thanks for watching the Facecheck podcast. There's no way you watched this 1 hour and 30-minute video, but, if you did, we love you.
Skip around. It's fine. We don't care.
Yeah, if you skip to the end, well, freak you.
You missed me taking off my pants, man. That was a great time.
Yeah, exactly. You missed all the racist comments. You missed all the cutting, Anyway, let's end it right there. Perfect.